started the autoimmune healing autoimmune naturally page because I'm just making sure comments are on. I think they are. Because I don't like having. I've got an autoimmune disease, and I don't like pharmaceuticals, and I believe nature can heal itself. That's basically it. But let's get to juicing. So I wrote notes so I could keep to something. How I came across juicing. I was really fortunate enough before I got sick to meet the Botenkos, who are the royal family, and to read some of Anne Wigmore's work. And the Botenkos then were into smoothies. I'll talk about blending versus juicing later, and the benefits of both. And they had a guest speaker who had, I think she juiced for a year, and she was massive and really sick, and she looked like a completely different person. So I, had in this back of my mind juicing, and I also from the Botenko started more raw foods into my diet, and I was doing green smoothies, and wow, was I healthy. People were, hey Bryony, nice to see you. People were commenting on how healthy I looked, and that was, that was really nice. I'm not like stare in front of the mirror kind of person. So anyway, then I kind of, everything slipped to the way, and I got on with life, and I worked too hard, like way too hard. I was still running and being fit, but working like 20-hour days. And then I had a traumatic event happen, and I'm a firm believer in a link between trauma and autoimmune. And like, I haven't got any scientific proof around that. Oh no, wait, there is some research that I've read. But anyway, and all the doctors could do for me was, oh yeah, you can type. Hey, lovely. So all the doctors could do for me after scans and blood tests and making sure I didn't have something sinister was offer me pills. And I don't like taking pills, but I took them so I could work, and I pushed my body and took more and more pills, and I pushed my body, and eventually your body stops. It says, hey Colleen, your body stops, and your body says enough, and it gives you little hints along the way, but if you don't listen, it gives you really big ones. And I ended up in bed, and I ended up in bed for about 12 to 18 months. I just couldn't move. I had no energy. I hurt my knees running, so I wasn't exercising. I had put on heaps of weight really slowly, but it certainly had changed my body to the point where like I had to lift my leg up to put my sock on, and I was like, this is not right. Anyway, so then I remembered juicing, and I watched the documentary Sick, Fat and Nearly Dead, and I highly recommend that you watch that because it's a really great place to start. I know that Deb's put on some other documentaries, and there is so much information on YouTube about juicing, but hopefully I'll give you the nuts and bolts of it now. And I decided to do a juice fast, and fast feast. I'll talk about that in a bit too. And the hi Lizette, I am not sure. I'm not sure about that question. I'll have to read that and think about that a bit more. I can't answer that one off the cuff. I do believe our bodies can heal themselves. They're meant to. We're the only species that doesn't, and we're the only species with the illness and sickness rates that we have. This is a really cool thing. I didn't write this in my notes. I was talking to my doctor yesterday, and he said, you got to think of how the human body, which I've also had the same thought, but his analogy was really good. We've evolved really fast, technologically. So, you go back a few hundred years, we were, go back to hunter-gatherer. We've still really got the hunter-gatherer body, and the issue with that is that we don't have that lifestyle, and so it's like running an old computer with new software. It just doesn't work. So what we're having in what we're taking in nutritionally and environmentally and mentally and stress and all of those things is way more than our body is designed to take in. Anyway, just thought I'd tell you that. Anyway, so and where I was up to, so I did initially a 28-day juice fast, and that was good. I lost weight. People commented on how well I was, and it got me back up out of bed. And as we do, I just then got on with it, and things fell to the wayside. And then just quite recently, I got really sick. I had another quite traumatic event, and I pushed through again, and I could feel I could feel my fibro symptoms coming, and I pushed through and I pushed through and I pushed through, and I ended up in bed. And so I was in bed for, I reckon, somewhere between, 10 to 16 weeks, a long time. And and that was, that was like a reminder of, I know where this goes. And I put on so much weight. And, I tipped 100 kilos, and I know there are people that don't use the metric system. So I'm going to talk kilos and litres, but you can work it out. And I'm only sure I'm 5'4", so that's a lot for me. And so then I went back to juicing. Now, would I, I'm day 140 something, And I'm gonna keep juicing with you guys. So I'll go. I don't know what that works out. It'll probably be 200 days or something. But if you'd said to me, are you going to juice for 160 days or 140 days, or I would have gone, hell no, like who can do that? My kind of initial goal is 21 days, just to get me up and moving again. But our brain's really amazing. So it does this thing where it chunks, it can cope with things if you chunk them down. So if I look around the house and go, oh, I've got to do the dishes and I've got to do I've got to write that report and I've got to clean the bathroom and I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and there's all, and I've got to whip a sip, and my body goes, that's too much. But it can do the little things. So I just went, hey Alicia, miss you, Dal. So I chunk it down. So and I did it in once I passed kind of 30 days. I was cruisy greasy, and I just went by 10-day increments and went with some health goals, and then just went, I'll go until I feel like I don't want to be doing this anymore. Right now I feel like I do it forever, and I won't, because I think we need solid food. But you certainly hit a spot where it's super easy, super easy. What have I got here? So my next thing was how long to juice for and chunking. So I just told you that. I think Deb had originally suggested 30 days for the group, and look, honestly, just do what you feel like. Say 7 days, and if at 7 days you want to go further, go further. If at 7 days you go, that was enough and not for me, then stop. Listen to your body. I think the not listening to our body is how we get sick, and the listening to our body is how we get well. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you my greens. So I just picked them from the garden. They're not on my list next. But I think I want to do it before they wilt. Okay, so here they are. Okay, so variety. We're creatures of habit, so I bet you when you go to the supermarket you buy the same thing. I think the average person, hang on, wait, I'll go the other way around. Back in seasonal hunter-gatherer living, hang on a minute, I'm just waving to some friends. We would eat between 2,000 to 3,000 different foods a year. So it's wild edibles and not cultivated foods, but foods that things like blackberries and almost all grasses are edible, by the way. And we would also have times of fasting, and we would also generally only cook when it was cold enough to make a fire. It's food for thought. Today, the average Australian, American, whoever, will eat 20 to 30 different foods. That's because we're creatures of habit, and that's because we're wired for habit, because habit keeps us safe. And so what we're doing here is restarting habits. So it takes 21 days to start a new habit. mentally to rewire your brain. And so 21 days, I think is a good juicing time. But again, do what works for you. So, having said that, variety is super, super important, and I'm even guilty of it. Like, on the days that I'm pressed for time, I will juice my old favourites, and I don't have enough. Oh, sure. Can I speak up? Yeah, I'll try. Hang on a minute. Maybe volume's not up. Hang on, wait. Up, down. No, that's going to turn it off. Maybe I'll just talk louder, Deb. How's that sound? Is that better? Give me an indication if that's working. Okay, so where were we at? Creatures of habit, variety. I grow a fairly big veggie garden, and I grow edible weeds, and I also am fortunate enough to know edible weeds in the wild. I think it's a really great thing that we should all know. So that's that's the thing that I think that we should definitely incorporate in our diet. Weeds have nutrition like nothing else. Okay, so this is what I picked this morning that'll go into my green juices. I've got basil, I've got alfalfa, I've got fennel, I've got chard, I've got plantain. This one's an edible weed. And doctrine of signatures, which is a whole other story. This is lymphatically amazing. I've got kale, I've got carrot tops, pumpkin leaves. Did you know? Oh, here's a bit left. These guys are edible. I've got wombok, another type of kale. This one is that's spinach. What else have I got in there? Some broccolini. Another type of kale, small fennel, I've got endive in there. Oh, yeah, here's a cool one. Corn. That's crazy, but this one you can actually juice. Parsley, really, really great. What else? Radicchio, here she is. Anyway, so lots and lots of greens there. The reason why the variety is so important is because your body gets used to it gets used to having the same nutrition, and you need the variety for different nutrition, basically. Does that make sense? So, which will segue to, I'm trying to be more succinct and less like rambly, but those of you that know me personally, I'm a rambler. Do you juice fruit too? Yeah, Lizette, I'm just about to get to that. I was going to okay, I can talk about it now actually. So what to juice? So the goal with juicing is generally put at 80 to 20. So that's 80% vegetables to 20% fruit, and 60-40 is your minimum. So 60% vegetables, 40% fruit. That's basically mimicking the chimpanzee diet, which is what our DNA is the most similar to. Like we should 98 point something % of the same DNA. So the reason why not too much fruit is because it's got good sugars in it, but it certainly doesn't have the same nutrition as vegetables. And I stay clear of some vegetables because they make my inflammation worse, so I don't have tomato or capsicum. I wouldn't choose an eggplant, that would be terrible. And the only exception I make there is with cayenne pepper. I have that. So am I talking loud enough? Can someone let me know if you're hearing me okay? I can bring you a bit closer in, but the lighting's a bit funny then. Anyway, so as for fruit, most definitely, your palate's going to change. So initially the 60-40 is great because you can put enough fruit in to make things palatable. Like I'll drink a juice and think, oh yeah, that's really nice, and then my partner will drink it and go, that tastes like lawn clippings, and that is terrible. And sometimes they'll drink a juice and go, whoa, that is terrible. And then I'll have another sip and my body will go, oh, actually, not so bad. And I can feel the bitters, and I can feel the good. Bitters, that's one of the things I've got in here. The endive and the radicchio thistles, they're really important for our body. Oh, thank you. Yeah, like my skin has gotten better. I'm actually going to talk about skincare and skin health while you're juicing, because I think that's a really important part of it. I can drink some lawn clippings, but not all day. No, me neither. Oh, you know what? If it meant that I was going to be healthy, yeah, I reckon I would. But anyway. Energy. So the first, I've got to backtrack a bit. The first 4 to, this time it didn't take me as long. The first few days, like 4 maximum, you're going to feel like crap because your body's going, hang on a minute, what are you doing? You're starving me and you're not looking after me, and you're also going to be super thirsty. I drink 2 litres, like this is I'll probably drink more today. Day 3 can really bite it. The other thing that happens is you get, you might get constipated depending on your diet, and you also might get like, liquid down that end. And what's happening is you're putting in all this juice and all these micronutrients, and then eventually, what goes in must come out. And I reckon there's about a day there that you sit on the loo. So get a good book. Then after that it settles down to normal. Pushing through those days and planning when you start those days. I know we've said January 1, which is good because holidays, and there's a weekend coming up after it. If that doesn't suit you, set yourself up for success. Like make sure you've got the space and time to not feel good for a few days. And you'll have headaches, nausea, itchy skin. Like there are lots of things that happen. But then, around day 4, your body goes, it just kicks over, and it basically goes, you're a really bad hunter and gatherer. It recognizes the juice as water, so we need, water, sleep, and food. It says, you're a really bad hunter. We're gonna switch off hunger for a while, and we're going to turn on your senses. So, wow, can you smell? Like, incredibly well. And I'd like to say my eyesight's better, but it actually hasn't been. But I think that's another thing. And I still cook for my family, and I do and I'm prepping them so that when I come off juicing, we can go to a predominantly raw diet. And I actually sit down and have a juice with them while they have their meals. Gosh, I get thirsty. Hang on a minute, I need to drink. Okay, so I actually could get to this place where I could appreciate the smell of food. I know that sounds really weird, but I cook something really yummy for my family and I go, that smells incredible and that must taste really, really good. So you get hungry, but momentarily, and if you can move past the hunger, because it's only a moment. Like I think that that woman Mel, I can't remember her name. She says the 5-second rule. It's only a moment's decision to eat or not to eat, and to continue juicing or not to continue juicing. So, what I initially would do would say to myself, is this meal worth breaking my juicing for? Is this meal worth my health for? And those of you that know my cooking, you know, I know my way around, so sometimes it'd be like, it's a really hard choice, but I could always choose my health over the food, and that's what got me through. I did make this killer mushroom lasagna, and I cut myself a piece and put it in the freezer, so I'll definitely have that when I finish juicing, because that one I went, yeah, I want to eat this, but I'm not now. Okay, so energy. So you'll have energy. People always say, oh, but won't you feel, blah. So what you're doing when you're juicing is you're taking in micronutrients, which is a kind of a segue to the blending versus juicing. And your body can absorb that stuff super easy, go straight to your cells, and you are able to access that nutrition, and you have ridiculous amounts of energy. I still have fibro flare-ups from what would happen if you ate the lasagna. Was it wheat-based? No, it's a vegan mushroom one that I did with nutritional yeast. So during the juice, I would have broken my juice fast, and you can get back on, but you kind of, defeating the purpose of the juicing, because you're putting something into your system and you're going back to, we're eating now. If I have time, I'll talk about nutrition at the end. So variety, super important. Organic versus non-organic versus provenance, which is really super important. So yeah, of course, organic, which really I think should just be called food, and everything else should be labelled not organic or GMO. And I will always pick provenance over organic. So I know I grew this, and I put the seed in, and I made this, and I've watered it. I know the soil that it's in. So it's not certified organic, but geez, it looks good, hey? How's that doctrine of signatures? I'll talk about that later. That's it just looks like blood vessels and going into your body. Anyway, so I go and I get I'm pretty sure I put it up, but I'll put it up again. There's a dirty dozen and a clean 15 or something like that about which of the vegetables and fruits are worse. Like I know I'm pretty sure strawberries are not really great if they're not organic. But there are other things that are fine. But you can wash produce, and you can buy things to take topical chemicals off. That doesn't change what went into the growing of it. So what we're having when we're juicing is phytonutrients. So sun, the sun goes into the plant, photosynthesis, takes nutrition or nutrients from the earth, brings it back up, puts it in the plant. That's how we're getting it. So if your food is bad soil and bad, it's just pumped full of fertilizers, well, of course it's going to be not as good as organic. However, fresh fruit and veg, infinitely better, even if it's conventional, is better than processed food. Processed food I steer way clear of, with the exception of a vegan cheese every now and then, because it's just not stuff that our body is meant to. It doesn't recognise it. So basically, what happens is it goes into our body. So this is the why we feel hungry when we've just eaten. So it goes into our body, and then because it's got no recognisable nutrition, our body goes, I know we've put stuff in, but I've got nothing to give my cells, so can you feed me again so that I get some good nutrition? And that becomes the cycle, again, we're creatures of habit. People just will continue to eat, and go on eating that. Okay. This is probably a listen up moment. What kind of juicer? Probably should have started with that stuff. So I use a Breville, and I bought it off of Gumtree, and it cost me, I reckon, $50 or something like that, second hand, and it is a gun. I've also got a cold press juicer, but the quantities, I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So I'll finish the juicer story and then I'll talk about quantities. So the quantities that I'm juicing and the time restraints I have, I don't want to be spending hours, and cold pressed you've got to cut it up and feed it through slowly and yada yada, and yes, you get better nutrition from a cold pressed juicer, but for me I had to outweigh the time versus nutrition, and that's why I have been using my Breville, and it's a gun. It just keeps on going, and I saw that they've released a new one, which I haven't looked at the specs of it, but anyway, I'm not a Breville rep or anything, it's just the juicer that I have. And I've used lots of different juicers, but but basically one's centrifuge, and that's the Breville, and the other one's masticating, so it mimics the chewing, and it doesn't heat, so it doesn't destroy the enzyme value. This guy here is that you got to be careful with your juices. So mine's getting ready for a good scrub. So can you see down there that like build up through there? I don't know if you can see it well. Anyway, when I look through it, I can see clear, but the little tiny bits of fibre get stuck in here, and what happens is that's when you start to not juice as efficiently. So I get those brush sets from the $2 shop, and I make sure I give it a good clean. Preparing. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? Someone remind me if I can remember. Okay. Preparing. So pre-juicing, I highly recommend you do at least a week of just substituting in one meal for a juice, going to a more raw diet, having a salad, having lighter meals, because if you go from like eating macas or lasagnas and big meals to juicing, it's a big shock to the body, and it's easier if you do that prep week. It's really up to you, but from my experience, prep weeks really help. Okay, so some health things in there. To teeth. When you're juicing, especially fruit, there's fruit acids in there, and they are on your teeth, and immediately after juicing you should brush your teeth, because the acids weaken your enamel and they can damage your teeth. And then so I'll have my last juice, and then I'll probably wait an hour or two before I do my teeth, and I make sure I drink water first. Skin health. Loofering. So we're the skin's our biggest organ, and it's a way that our body is able to shed. We're always shedding dead skin, and it also brings your blood to the surface, which helps with your excretory system and lymphatic system. So I do both dry and wet loofering. I do a dry one in the morning, and then at night time when I have a shower, I use a loofah mitt thingy to clean off my body. I don't use soap. I use I don't even know what it's called. It's one of the ones that you get from the chemist that doesn't have the detergent factor, and I do that because of vitamin D. So one of the things I do every day is I spend 40 minutes out in the sun, unless it's really overcast and gross. But I just do 20-20, and I do that to get my vitamin D, because vitamin D is a important thing and it's a feel good one. When you and I thought this was a joke when I was told it, when you use soap, you actually wash off some of the vitamin D. It goes through this conversion process. It's important to not, I think it takes 48 hours for your body to fully assimilate it. So I use that. Now, the other thing is moisturising. So I use organic, natural, I suppose I should plug them. They're really lovely people. I use the Naturally products, but just read your labels, and I use coconut oil, and I use Veleda wild rose oil, and that's for a couple of reasons. Because you'll lose weight, you get your skin shrinking, and that if you hydrate your skin both inwardly with the water and the juices, but you also moisturise it, then you're less likely to get those skin saggy bits here. So this is really interesting. Yesterday that was all wrinkly, and God, that used to be out here, and now I moisturised last night. It's back, looking good. People always say, what about the protein? There is so much protein in plants. Fat hen or lamb's quarters is another one. It's a wild edible. That's 48% protein. This is enough protein for me. Protein is just not an issue, and neither's energy. You're going to have plenty of it. And if you don't, like on the days that I don't, I just sleep. I just rest. I just figure my body's doing some level of healing, and I go to bed and I rest, and I tell my family that's it. So I'm not able to do anything for them today. Really super important to keep up your water intake. I easily drink a litre of water, within the first hour of getting up, and then I will. Oh, look, today it's looking like I'm gonna probably have 3. So these are I use these jars. These are litre jars. I don't know what you call them in America. Quart jars, mason jars. I don't know. And I juice. So quantities. I juice up about 4 of these a day. I try and have I have my green juices first, because I want to get because every time you cut something, it begins to oxidize. So I have my green juices first, and then I have my other ones after. But I try and have at least 2 litres of green juice a day. This guy, really great, especially when you're mixing green juices, because I can pour into here, it's 5 litres, and I can have a little taste and go, ooh, that needs something. Putting citrus with your greens helps you absorb the iron. So I always make sure with my green juices I've got citrus in there. Beetroot's another really interesting vegetable. It can it's really detoxifying and can stimulate your body. So I don't have beetroot every day, but I do try and eat the rainbow. Drink the rainbow. And the other thing people ask about is the blending versus juicing. So juicing still has fibre in it. People go, well, what about fibre? It's the, hang on, let me get this right. So it's the soluble fibre that exists in the juice. So you're still getting fibre, and your cells can take that in. The insoluble fibre that you get when you do a smoothie is also really, it's also really important. So I will go back to smoothies, and I do smoothies for my family, and they all just made smoothies before I started this. So the difference between it is you're not giving your colon and digestive system a break when you've still got the fibre in there. Fibre's designed to help like clean the bowel and to slow down absorption, and so it definitely has a place, and it's definitely important in your diet, but there's enough insoluble fibre in your juices for fibre not to be an issue. Keep up the water, energy. I reckon that's about it. I can't think of anything else to let you know. And I don't. It's not for me a diet. It's a like it's a restart of my body. 47, 48 in a few months, and I didn't want my body to not be available for me. There's things I want to do, and I also want to show my kids that I can do it, and that I can choose health and show them healthy practices. So yes, I've lost weight. I've lost like 35 kilos, and I actually track that on an app, which is really it's free and it's great. I'm not really sure what it is, but anyway, I'll put it in some comments. Apple cider vinegar is the other thing that I might put in my water. Apple cider vinegar helps take out heavy metals. So if you have any heavy metals in your body, then the apple cider vinegar's good. I make my own apple cider vinegar, and a story for another day. And emotions. Be prepared for an emotional roller coaster, because I kind of think when you put weight on, there's, I don't know, like memory. I don't know if this is even true, but that's just what I think. There's memory in that, and so if if that's coming out, then that memory on some level is being triggered. Anyway, it's just a thought. But I know that I have days where I'm better and days when I'm not. Exercise. I exercise every day because I've got horses and a garden, and that's basically the minimum I do. And riding, if I'm up for it, I'll ride. But the exercising, I know there are some people there that can't move, and initially I couldn't, so I actually had to get assistance to get out of the house and go down and see the horses, and then gradually I got better and I could do it, and I'd get exhausted walking across the paddock, and I'd have to have someone with me, and so depending on where your health's at, you judge that. But exercise makes you feel good, and getting outside makes you feel good. So I reckon they're things to do if you can. Anyway, I'll put this up as a like a video thingy, and I'll see if anyone has any other comments, and I'll try and answer them. Health practitioners, if you're lucky, you're going to find one that supports it. If you have, you know, a disease or a condition that juicing would be contraindicative of, then it's not for you. I personally believe in taking charge of your health, listening to doctors and professionals, but also ultimately it's your body and your choices. But from a disclaimer point of view, I've got to say, get medical advice so that you get the AOK for being able to do juicing. And you know, there you have it. That's my juicing 101. Any questions after? Let me know. Thanks for your time, and thanks for you know, friends from afar coming in and saying hi, and people that I've talked to online. Yeah, it's lovely that you've listened, and it's lovely to have shared that with you. I hope that covers it. All right, I better sign off now and juice these greens while they've still got life in them, and get that life force energy into me. Okay, bye for now.